All right, everyone, we are on the record. We're about to get started. If we can silence our cell phones, as Councilperson Gilmore was saying. Everybody take a hint. All right, good afternoon, everyone. We are on the record. Today is Monday, the 7th day of April in the year 2025. This is a City Council caucus meeting of the Jersey City Municipal Council. We had a scheduled 4 p.m. start, and the clock on my cell phone is showing 4:11 p.m. May we kindly have a roll call for the commencement of this meeting? Councilperson Ridley.
Here.
Councilperson Prinzary.
Here.
Councilperson Baggiano. Councilperson Saleh.
Here.
Councilperson Solomon. Councilperson Gilmore.
Present.
Councilperson DeGise. Councilperson Rivera.
Here.
And Council President Waterman.
Here.
We have all 9 council members present at 4:12, actually 4:11 p.m., sorry. On behalf of Council President Waterman and members of the Municipal Council, in accordance with the New Jersey Public Laws of 1975, Chapter 231, the Open Public Meetings Act, also known as the Sunshine Law, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by the posting on the bulletin board of the first floor of City Hall, the annual notice, which is the schedule of meetings and caucuses of the Municipal Council for the calendar year 2025, and filed in the office of the City Clerk on Friday, November 15th, 2024. In addition, at its time of its preparation, the agenda of this meeting was similarly disseminated on Friday, April 4th, 2025 at 5:44 p.m. to the Mayor, Municipal Council, Business Administrator Corporation Council, the newspapers, and posted on the city's website, so I can certify as our total compliance with the Sunshine Law. Council President, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Good evening, Council President, Council members. The Department of Public Safety has one resolution on the agenda tonight. It's a resolution 10.11, agenda item 10.11, resolution 25-229. It's a resolution authorizing the award of a contract with Tomahawk Strategic Solutions for providing various tactical training programs for Jersey City police officers under New Jersey State Contract for Department of Public Safety Division of Police. It's in the amount of $172,000. The funds are in the reserve account. However, this will not be paid out of the reserve account. We need the funds in the reserve account to pass the resolution, but these will be from the federal training forfeiture funds. We'll pay for these just like in the last 12 years. That amount will cover twice a year training for our ESU team. Every member will attend a complete 2-week training, so a total of 4 weeks, 20 days for each member. And then 4 active shooter drills. However, 4 is the optimum. We have never gotten there. The most we've gotten is 3. And of course, we would only pay for what we actually do. The reason we only get to 3 is it's a huge coordination problem here in the city, choosing places to do it, making sure everybody's available, etc. So the truth is the entire 172 will not be spent in all likelihood.
Questions?
Director, is with regards to the new public safety building, there's no way this training can be done there, right?
It can be done anywhere. We've done one there. We've also done one in the other building. It's there where the health department is. If the directors up there request it, we can certainly put them back on the list. But we alternate usually between schools, between cultural institutions, between large buildings downtown here, and city buildings. We've done them here. We've done them at both buildings up there. So we could put them back on the list. If we have a location that has not received training, it would have priority over a second time at an existing location.
And it's just for ESU trainees?
The first training, the twice a year, the 20 days I spoke about, that is only for the emergency service unit. The drills are done by everybody. The police department, police leadership, fire department, emergency service unit, and our surrounding departments. The sheriff's office participates, the community participates, and of course, everyone in city government is invited to come.
Oh, okay.
What about the affordable housing building? Could you add that on the list?
I don't believe we've gotten a request. I can certainly give that, I'll give that to Tawana tomorrow morning.
Okay, because,
Because we haven't selected any
right,
locations for training for this year yet. I know we have one request from a fairly large financial institution downtown, and that leaves us room for several others.
Director, as you may know, there was a shooting around 3 MLK, 3 Jackson Square, sorry, the municipal building. It was outside. It was in the vicinity of the building. And is there anything prepared for the future for municipal employees to know what to do in that case? Just because I had a lot of concerns from people that work there.
Yeah, there was a shots fired, as you said, nobody struck around the corner from the buildings. The security guards appropriately locked down the buildings, prevented anybody from entering or exiting until they were confident that the area was secure. Police responded immediately. I believe that is still under investigation, so I'm not going to say anything else about that right now, but we're confident that that will reach a satisfactory conclusion for us, the investigation. Everybody, again, I mentioned, we've already done drills, full day drills with multiple iterations in both of those buildings. We will put them back on the list to do again. Again, priority would go to somebody who's never received the training before we start doing second groups again.
Okay.
And we can't make that training mandatory, but it has been done in both buildings and everybody was invited.
Hey, John, I know we spoke a little at the last council meeting as it relates to processes and protocols when these things happen. Did we get anything ironed out as it relates to, what's supposed to be done? And more importantly, from a just insurance safety point, communicating with the employees, because a lot of them, I guess they're still traumatized, a lot of them still have questions, comments, and or concerns as it relates to that communication and how that communication look.
Yeah, Councilman, as the director mentioned, the buildings were followed by protocol for lockdown. Director Kears had been personally involved with strategic planning around that. We could do another, maybe a open session with those employees, and we did provide on-site services for anybody that had any residual issues resulting in that. So it's a collaborative effort in both strategically planning for the next event and then also responding to an event when it occurs.
Is there any way we can, as a council, get a copy of
Yeah,
what is the
absolutely.
protocol? What should they do?
Yep. Absolutely. And then, like I said, we could even have an on-site discussion with them as well.
Can you disseminate the written protocols to the council as well? What to do in, like, God forbid something happens in the vicinity of City Hall, like, what do we do? What do I tell my staff, my council aides?
Absolutely.
And Director, just with regards to this train, I do recall going to some of them. If we can have like I guess a little more notice just from a community perspective so they can see in real time what these situations look like when we're doing these trainings. I know I've been to a couple myself, but I just would like to see a little more like outreach to the community, just so we paying for it. You guys are welcome. You can come and see how this stuff looks.
Okay, but we have a very robust community participation. We have community members come in and actually act as, I believe you were present at one, where they actually come in and serve as actors and bystanders during this to make it more difficult for our responding, units. But yeah, I'll look at how much notice we give before we do them.
thank you. Director Kears.
Good evening, President Waterman, members of the council. Just to add to Director Shea, we also, with the assistance of Director Baker, set up a talk group on the Public Safety Communications Network where the security guards, we can monitor the activities that's going on. Should something occur in one of the buildings, say in Annex 3, obviously all the security guards will be able to communicate. This is going to be monitored by the control desk on the police side. That was a gap that we determined existed, so we just took care of that, and thanks to the assistance of Director Baker. I have 4 items before you tonight. First one is 10.9, Resolution 25277. Resolution will authorize the award of a contract to Safeware Incorporated for the purchase of desktop computers for the city's emergency operations center. These units will be replacing the present computers which have been in service for more than 8 years. Total amount of this contract is $125,925.54 and is funded through the fiscal year 2024 UASI grant. Next item is 1027-25-245. Resolution will authorize a month-to-month extension not to exceed 3 months effective April 30th, 2025 with Gateway Security to provide armed and unarmed security services at various city-owned properties. Total cost of this extension will not exceed the sum of $1 million, while the city selects a vendor from the recent RFP for security guard services. Funds in the amount of $300 are available for this matter at a DPW operating account.
Hey, Director, this is for the security guards at the buildings, right?
Correct.
So this, I know we just did a 90-day extension. This will be the second one.
Yep. We just got the RFP returned, actually, Councilman. So myself and other members of the committee were appointed by BA Metro. We'll be reviewing that and then hopefully get the contract awarded.
Oh, okay. And those guys are still in the
Yes.
bidding as well,
Still
right?
there.
So
Correct.
it's just a matter of time.
Yes.
Yeah. Councilman, the extension just to make sure they're getting paid their bills adequately. But as he mentioned, the bids did come back and the committee has 2 weeks to review them starting this week.
Next item is 1028-25-246. Resolution will authorize renewal of a contract with Sims Municipal Recycling of New York LLC for the disposition and marketing of commingled materials for the DPW Division of Recycling. Total amount of this renewal is $800,000 with a temporary encumbrance of $30,000, which is available in the recycling enforcement account. And the final is 1029-25-247. The resolution will authorize the award of an open-end contract to Foley Power Systems for forklift repairs as needed for the DPW Automotive Division. Total amount of this contract is $60,000 with a temporary encumbrance of $15,000, which is available in the Automotive Division operating account.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Juliet?
Good afternoon, everyone. Good evening, Council
Afternoon.
President, council members. I am here for agenda number 10.3, resolution 25-221 and 10.7, 25-225. I'll read 10.3, 25-221 first. Well, I won't read it, but I will just share. This is to a resolution to accept a gift from a local veteran, Anthony Zaccone. Mr. Zaccone is an artist. He has painted multiple art renderings and is interested in gifting our office for the Division of Veterans Affairs with some of his paintings. I have gone through his paintings and selected 6 paintings from Mr. Zaccone, which will hang in our office at 394 Central Avenue. The value of those paintings said to be about $1,000. And then a resolution 25-225 is really just an amendment to the MOU that we have in partnership with St. Peter's University to add language that will include training for additional veterans. St. Peter's would like to partner with us in the training that we provided earlier this year to 15 staff and local individuals that partner with our office for resiliency first aid, which is a precursor to had a late lunch, so my brain is a little tired. Suicide prevention, my apologies. So in this shift of language, it will include that St. Peter's will also pay for some training to help us train additional individuals in resilience first aid to become first responders.
Juliet, have you been following the latest laws that are passed for veterans? There's a lot of things out there now that benefit us, that are veterans, and they're very, very, it's about time.
Yes. Well, thank you, Council, for providing the budget that we have been able to train 15. We have 15 scheduled to be trained in June and possibly 10 additional, so 25 to be trained with the funding that St. Peter's would add because of this MOU.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Owen?
Good afternoon, Council President and members of City Council. HHS Food and Nutrition has one item this evening for your consideration, Resolution 25-226, item number 10.8. This is a resolution authorizing the Jersey City Department of Health and Human Services to accept the Child and Adult Food Care Program grant in the amount of $117,853.92. This program will feed 170 children in daycares and after school. That's the first version of the program, and this grant will help get it launched. Thank you.
Yes, Joe.
Good evening, Council President, Council. I have one resolution, 25224, item 10.6. A resolution authorizing the Jersey City Department of Health and Human Services to accept grant funds from the New Jersey Department of Health for the 2025 Senior Farmers Market Nutrition Program. This is just about, well, for the grant itself is $43.75 to pay for supplies. And we will be having the program this year, but the state is only giving $40 a person instead of 50. But at least we still have it because I wasn't sure with everything going on. So each senior will get $40. And as soon as we get the applications, we'll send them to you so you can pass them on to your constituents.
Do you know why they cut the funding?
No, I have no idea. With everything going on, I wasn't sure whether we're going to have it at all. But they just said that the money, they were flowing the money, and rather than cutting the number of seniors, they'd rather make sure that more people have them, even though it's a little less money.
Thank you for your work, leadership.
Thank you.
Good evening, Council President, member of council. I have two resolutions this evening. First is item number 10.10, resolution 25-228. It's a resolution authorizing an award of a contract to Target Solutions Learning LLC, DBA, right, for tracking software for EMS and fire training under the National Purchasing Partner Government Purchasing System for the Department of Public Safety. It's in the amount of $90,215,032. Target Solutions, about 4 years ago, we brought them in. What this does is it tracks the training and the certification of every fireman or firewoman in the department. It also tracks inventory, hoses, brass couplings, so forth, so on, and the condition of every piece of apparatus. Repairs needed to be made, the condition, the year, make, and model. This company is used by the largest fire departments around, and as you know, Jersey City has the largest fire department in the state. And since moving to this, every deputy chief and stuff in charge of the bit has been nothing but raving on how on top the department is on the complete operations because of all this information at their fingertips.
Is this virtual training or it's in person?
Oh, they have virtual training, and on top of that, the, the record keeping on everything going on. It's like a one-stop solution.
Okay.
All right, my second is item 10.12. It's resolution 25-230. It's a resolution ratifying the award of a contract to Software House International for hardware maintenance services for servers, tape drives, and VDI systems through the New Jersey Cooperative Purchasing Alliance of Bergen County Co-op for the Department of Public Safety, Division of Technology and Communications. This resolution is in the amount of $57,163.20. This, I know I spoke about this coming up at the last council meeting. So as you know, as public safety is in the hold, waiting for the new systems to come in, this is to maintain our present technology.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Evening, Council President, members of City Council. I have two items for you today. The first is 10.22, Resolution 25-240. This is a resolution authorizing the Office of Cultural Affairs to accept a sponsorship from the Jersey City Public Library for our Summerfest concert series. The 50th anniversary of Summerfest is this summer, and the library is partnering with us on that. Next item is 10.31, Resolution 25-249. This is an access agreement at 352 Marin for the purposes of putting up a public art piece. So it's to access their property because the wall is adjacent to it.
Thank you. Noble?
Good afternoon, Council President, council members. I have one item before you today for consideration. Agenda item 1013, Resolution 25-231. A resolution ratifying the award of a contract to Dell Marketing LP for Microsoft license renewal under the state contract for the Department of Administration, Division of Information Technology. The total amount of this contract is $367,622.30. This will fund the operations of our Microsoft product suites, the emails, Office, Word, Excel, SharePoint, and Power Tool apps that we use across the city.
Annie?
Good afternoon, Council President, members of Municipal Council. For your consideration, I have one item. It is agenda number 10.1, resolution number 25-219. And the title of the resolution is a resolution authorizing an emergency temporary appropriation for calendar year 2025. This additional funding is necessary for the continuance of city services without any disruptions.
Yeah, when will we
Thank
get,
you.
when will we receive the budget?
Council President, they're working on it now. We think about 2 to 4 weeks, probably closer on the 2 side, so potentially at the end of April or early May.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Councilwoman, Council. How is everybody? I'm here for one resolution, 10.23, resolution number 25-241. This is a resolution authorizing an award of a contract to Sports Pro Incorporated for the maintenance and repair services of multiple basketball courts throughout the city and through the Sourcewell Purchasing Cooperative, formerly known as the National Joint Powers Alliance for the Department of Recreation and Youth Development, Division of Park Maintenance. So this is for all the sports courts that we have all around, because I see you looking at me like you want to know. So it's for Bayside Park. We have 2 courts, 1 court there. Audubon Park has 2. Dr. Lena Edwards 2. Hamilton, Lafayette 1. Riverview 1. Gateway 1. Muhammad Ali.
Hey, Keith, Any reason we're even still using this crate material on these courts?
I'm glad you brought that up, Councilman. I would like to go on the record that I'm doing a cost analysis right now to see if we can rip them all up and see what the cost would be on there. But these things costing almost $80,000.
Yes, and they're not worth it, because it constantly need repairs all the
All
time.
the time. And it's so easy to rip up because Bayside Park, the
Yeah.
whole entire court is there. Appreciate that. Question?
Keith, before, this is something off, off this resolution. Well, we have baseball season in full swing coming up throughout the city. How are your crews with respect to like ball fields, and do we have enough clay in those ball fields?
Yeah, we ordered everything. We have clay, we have everything. The Jermaine is taking care of the ball fields. The high schools were very complimentary on the field so far. They said it was the best they've looked in a long time, and we'll just keep it up as we go there. So and if you're particularly worried about this weekend, we'll be ready for it.
Perfect, thank you.
Have a good night, everybody.
Good afternoon, City Council and Council President. I'm Brian Rands with the Division of Community Development, and I have 3 resolutions for your consideration. First is Agenda Item 10.16, Resolution 25-234. It's a resolution of the Municipal Council to approve the sale of 102 Cambridge Avenue, Unit 11, and authorize the buyer to assume the city's note, mortgage, and deed restrictions encumbering the property. On June 26 of 2014, a constituent purchased an affordable unit at 102 Cambridge Avenue, Unit 11, in exchange for $159,090.91 for the construction of that unit. The constituent signed a note, mortgage, and deed restriction with the city. The constituent's now looking to sell the property and has entered into a contract for sale with the buyer for $212,057. Now we just need your permission to allow the new purchaser to assume those responsibilities. The affordability restrictions expire in 2044. The second resolution is Agenda Item 1017, Resolution 25-235. It's a resolution of the Municipal Council authorizing the business administrator to execute a discharge of mortgage encumbering 269 Stegman Street. In December of 2006, a constituent executed a mortgage and note for the city of Jersey City for $22,600 for money under the homeowner repair program. The affordability period was only 10 years. There's no repayment owed under the mortgage. Therefore, we're just asking for your permission to discharge the mortgage. And the last resolution is Agenda Number 1018, Resolution 25-236, a resolution of the Municipal Council authorizing the business administrator to execute a discharge of mortgage encumbering 316-318 Van Horn Street. In September of 1992, a constituent executed a mortgage and note in favor of the city of Jersey City for $52,000 made under the Community Development Block Grant. The mortgage encumbered the property for 20 years. Now the constituent is looking to sell the property. This is a 95.5 property, so pursuant to the terms of the mortgage, the seller owes the city $72,125.09 to satisfy the mortgage. With your permission, upon receipt, we'll execute the discharge and can proceed.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you, Council. Have a great night.
Walker?
Hello, Council President, members of the council. We have 7 resolutions today for your consideration. I'm going to ask our transportation director and the team to present 4 that are related to their division, and then I'll present the rest.
Good afternoon, Council President, members of Council. Mike Manzella, Director of the Division of Transportation. I'm going to speak on 2 resolutions and then pass to my colleagues for the next 2. The first is Agenda Item Number 10.37. It's Resolution 25-255. This is a resolution of support requested by the New Jersey Department of Transportation for their concept development study of the replacement of the JFK Boulevard Bridge over 139 and Route 139 bridges. The city officials reviewed the project plans. The traffic team did raise some concerns about the proposed construction staging, which isn't actually scheduled to happen until late 2027 or 2028. The DOT concept development shows for lower 139, 2 westbound lanes and 1 eastbound lane during the construction. The traffic team has concerns about what the impacts would be in the areas surrounding 139 if that were to go into place. So the DOT continues to ask for resolutions of support, and we offered that we would present it to council. There's a risk that the DOT could go forward without a resolution of support anyway. So we, brought this resolution to your to the agenda and included a clause that says the city strongly prefers that 2 eastbound travel lanes be maintained during construction. So as they move on to the preliminary engineering and design phases, that is something that could be considered. The next one is agenda item number 10.3. It's resolution 25-256. This is another resolution of support as requested by the NJDOT, and this is for the replacement of the Baldwin Avenue Bridge over basically the path line. It's the bridge that currently was struck by a train and is damaged. The DOT had already been working on a concept development to replace that bridge. Again, this is in the 2028-2029 timeframe for construction. The DOT held a virtual public information center and received 22 comments. And the department does recommend approval of this resolution.
While we're talking about Baldwin Avenue, we had a meeting over a month ago. The Port Authority didn't show up and the railroad didn't show up. And it is getting to be disgusting because people are just sick and tired of what's going on. And some people in the city should get up there and demand that they finish this work and open that street, because I'm getting my back broken from people. In fact, I got 3 calls today on it. People are tired of it.
Councilman, what meeting was this?
About a month ago, remember we met on the bridge? We met there. We had everybody, the MUA, and we
got
had the railroad didn't show up, and also the others didn't show up. And I said, close the damn railroad down. And supposedly the young lady, the attorney, said you can't do it because they're federal. They're governed by the federal government. My attitude was, I could care less about the federal government. You're inconveniencing thousands of people, causing traffic jams and creating a lot of problems on Baldwin Avenue.
Yeah, so as I understand it, and I don't have all of the details because we're not the lead agency on the project, but we're still waiting for approval from NJDOT on exactly what the path forward will be to make those repairs. So as you know, we have that bypass on the street right now that's covered or protected on one side of the street. And the MUA, I believe, is waiting for approvals from the DOT in order to continue the work that we all agreed to. But we can't do it without their approvals because the bridge is under their jurisdiction.
You know, it's a shame. This is going on for almost a year, or maybe more than a year, and they don't seem to give a damn. But the people care, and the people are tired of it. So maybe we should just tell them, get lost.
X.
I'm going to pass it over to Eli, who will be the PM for this next project to talk about the award.
Good afternoon, Council. Elias Guzman is Senior Transportation Planner in the Division of Transportation Planning, here to speak on Resolution 25-238, resolution authorizing the award of a competitively bid contract to Arup US to provide professional planning services for the development of the Jersey City Transportation Plan. The purpose of this resolution is for competitively bid services for Arup to provide consulting services to develop a new circulation element of the Jersey City Master Plan. The circulation element was last updated in 2011.
Number?
It's 10.20. I got you.
Sorry.
All right, because
No, don't be sorry. It's all good.
that is so fast. We're still looking.
Okay. So the circulation element was last updated in 2011. This project will produce a comprehensive long-term strategy to guide Jersey City's transportation investments and policies in alignment with our future growth and community goals. The planning process will incorporate robust public engagement, including pop-up events, workshops, stakeholder meetings, and surveys. Led by Arup, the consultant team will conduct data-driven analyses and scenario modeling to develop and evaluate transportation projects and initiatives. These will be designed to support equity, sustainability, and safety while improving mobility across the city. The study is funded through a $420,000 grant awarded to Jersey City by the North Jersey Transportation Planning Authority through its fiscal year 2025-2026 Subregional Studies Program.
Questions?
I see there's a small area transportation plan for West Side and Journal Square. Is there anything in this that will ultimately benefit the Heights because it's like a transit desert?
So we chose, these two specific areas just due to development and, some of the growing concerns in these areas. So those will receive, individualized, planning efforts. Some of that will touch some of the southern parts of the Heights. However, we will have, the plan itself will have recommendations that will touch all areas of the city. So again, we just try to focus just due to, budgetary constraints in the project onto, high priority areas in the city.
Is it like a all of the above approach? Are you like implementing VIA? Are you looking at like different things to do?
Yeah, all of the above.
Yeah.
So
like NJ Transit stops, like which stops are like, give me like,
Give us a more clearer picture.
little meat and potatoes for me.
Certainly, yeah. So the
Sorry, just
comprehensive-
vegetarians.
Yeah, so the circulation element is really an all-encompassing plan. So it'll go from transportation services to policies, to safety initiatives, climate change, resiliency efforts. So it's really just kind of every aspect that touches the transportation system will be included in this plan. It may not be necessarily as granular as like a stop go here, just due to the scope of the scale and the level that we're doing it at. However, we're going to develop, recommendations that touch all aspects of the transportation system.
So like, not to you guys, maybe this is for the law department, but in order for us to put like cameras on buses for like a rapid bus transit lane, is that something that would have to go through the state level? Would we be able to do it on the city level? Like, I mean, to like, let's say if between the hours of like 8 and 9 and maybe let's say 2 to 4, if we were to do a rapid bus transit in certain sections, and
Transit had
It would-
conversations.
I don't want to corp counsel. Okay. So currently, anything having to do with signals that give signal priority to a specific type of mode is something we would be able to do. But there are regulations at the state level that we would need concurrence from. So that is the type of thing where we wouldn't, through this study or this plan, come up with recommendations for a corridor that would be a bus rapid transit corridor. But the plan would get into things like there should be more bus dedicated corridors in Jersey City. If we were to have them, generally, this is what they would look like, that we should have one complete north to south corridor. We should have one to east to west. But because this plan, so a couple years ago, the city went through an update of its land use element, which you may all remember. Before that, we went through an update of its open space element. So there are 9 elements of the city's master plan, and every few years they are required to all be updated. So it's now time for the circulation element to be updated, which will look at the entire city as a whole, the way we've been growing so far since the last time we did the update, and the type of growth that we have on our horizon coming up. And then based on that, how do we need to update the way we're dealing with transportation issues as a whole in the city? So this is our opportunity to look at that comprehensively. And then individual things like, this street should have a bus rapid transit design would be something that comes as a recommendation out of this large plan.
does it also take into account like the future development, like let's say in the south end of, well, not south, sorry, east end of Ward D, like downtown, there's
Yeah.
10,000 units.
Absolutely. So it'll consider things like the type of development that we have already approved that will come online in the future, and all of the redevelopment plans that we've been updating and the council has been taking action on, and how those will impact the way people move around in our city. That's why we need to focus on places like the West Side and Journal Square, where based on the development, the entire grid needs to change to accommodate that in some way, whereas other neighborhoods are pretty much built out the way they are, and the streets themselves don't need to change as much. So yes, it will take all of those things into account.
Thank you, Director.
Thank you.
It was a nice, robust explanation.
Yeah.
Thank you. And
Parker,
Eli will be the project manager. He's been managing a lot of these studies, so I wanted you all to know who he is and have him describe it.
Mark, if y'all could let Councilperson Soleil know where your office is, so he can stop and ask you guys some questions.
He knows where we are.
Yeah, I've
Got our number.
had tea time in there, so.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
We have one more resolution for transportation, and then I'll present the rest.
Okay.
Good afternoon, Council President and members of Council. My name is Lindsay Schofield. I'm a Senior Transportation Planner with the Division of Transportation Planning. I'm here for Agenda Item 10.21, Resolution 25-239. It's a resolution authorizing the release of claims against the New Jersey Economic Development Authority as part of a Phase 1 or Phase 2 environmental assessment of the Bergen Arches corridor. This is a standard municipal release in order to conduct the preliminary assessment and Phase 1 environmental site assessment. As part of this, New Jersey EDA will require access to the Bergen Arches, which is owned by New Jersey Transit. New Jersey Transit will sign a property agreement, and this exhibit that I'm asking for the authorization for us to enter into is a standard release that the municipality is required for the municipality to complete in order for New Jersey Transit then to complete the property owner agreement. Happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Okay, 3 more items. I'll be quick. The first one is Agenda Item 10.24, Resolution 25-242. And this is a resolution approving the improvements to the public right-of-way that were constructed in front of 70-90 Columbus Drive. This is the property right at Columbus and Marin. And this is just releasing the performance bond that the developer had with the city, assuring that all of their requirements have been met in the public right-of-way. Okay, the next item is 10.25, Resolution 25-243. This is a resolution authorizing the award of a contract to Arcadis, which is an environmental engineering firm, for consulting services at the Municipal Services Complex for the department. So this is where Councilman, our office is located at the Municipal Services Complex. As you know, when the city first built out this complex for city offices, it was done by condemnation of 4 different industrial lots. And as a result of that, we took on the liability of all of the contamination that existed there and cleaning that up. So this is the continuation of the requirements we have from the United States Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA, and the New Jersey DEP for monitoring and environmental services on that property. So this is in the amount of $195,000. Okay, and then the last one is 10.26, Resolution 25-244. This is a resolution ratifying a professional services agreement with Endpoint Environment and Infrastructure LLC. And this is also to provide environmental services, but this is to oversee the remediation that's happening at the PPG lot at Garfield and Caven Point Avenue. And this is something that PPG is covering the payments of to the city, but we do require oversight of the remediation that they're doing on that site. And this is in the amount of $80,000.
When's the expected completion of the remediation?
Right.
Or that's TBD?
It's been 90%.
It's been, yeah, it's
I know it's been
It's been a long
While.
time. I don't know what the expected completion is. It's obviously taking a lot longer than we all want, but I can request a report from PPG on what their percentage completion is.
Yeah, just, love to know.
About
Yeah.
7 years.
2030, yeah,
About 7.
2030.
Yeah, it's somewhere between 7 and 30. Okay, that's all we have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Andrew?
Oh.
Good afternoon, Council President, members of the council. I'm Andrew Abrams, Chief Public Defender for the Jersey City Municipal Court. I'm here with two items, 10.15 and 10.14. 10.15 first, Resolution 25-233, resolution seeking appointment of attorneys totaling 11 from the state of New Jersey to serve as public defenders for our Jersey City Municipal Court for the calendar year 2025. That then lends into item 10.14, resolution 25-232, which is a separate resolution ratifying a professional services agreement with me, Andrew Abrams, to continue my service as the Chief Municipal Public Defender for the municipal courts for the calendar year 2025. I think I had the pleasure of appearing before you December 19th. When we went through our budget for this year, we filed our resolutions in January with the understanding they would be heard in February. We got some information that was obviously incorrect because it didn't make it to you then. And when I found out that the resolution did not come up to be heard, I was asked to come in today because we reached a point where our public defenders, who are working very diligently and are very dedicated, but we're not going to be able to pay them to keep coming in. So I'd like to ask you to take a look and approve these resolutions, because while they keep coming, and I love that they're dedicated and keep coming, they should be paid for their efforts.
Definitely.
If there are any other questions, I'm happy to answer any. Thank you so much.
You, my ears. All right, on to our first reading ordinances. Item 3.1, City Ordinance 25-045 is an ordinance amending Chapter 84 Alcoholic Beverage and Cannabis to amend regulations of cannabis establishments and cannabis distributors.
John, that's mine. We did send out a memorandum to the council highlighting any additional changes or changes we made since the last time we put the ordinance up. We will be untabling the untabled ordinance, the tabled ordinance as well, but the Chapter 345 changes, those have not changed since we've gone through this process. So I can highlight very briefly, I think, what are the bigger changes, stuff that we've gone through several times. The ward cap is the same for Class 5 retailers. We're still at 48, although we've spoken about how some people may be grandfathered in, so we'll go beyond that cap to start if we should have everybody who's available open up. We did put limits on licenses for the remaining other classes. 1 through 4 has 3 each, and 6, the delivery will have 6 licenses, so 1 per ward. Public consumption, we updated to make sure everybody knows it's 21, just to make sure that's clear. Vehicles are allowed to be used for delivery services according to either the Class 5 certification where they can deliver, or the Class 6. We've removed a second appearance before the Cannabis Control Board, so they'll only have to go once and then come up for their annual renewal before the council, where they'll get their resolution of local support. The larger changes to the CCB structure and appointments, we did change pursuant to the council's recommendation, since we were having quorum issues, from a 5-member board to a 7-member board. All appointments will be by advice and consent of the council. There will be 3-year terms. We did add at the request of the council, a Jersey City residency requirement.
Good.
I believe we do have a board member that might not have residency. If he's already on the board and a member, he will be able to continue with his membership through the end of his term, but every new appointee will have to be a Jersey City resident going forward. CCB, we also made sure that they can set in accordance with Commerce that times for application windows to open up if a certain class or certain ward license becomes available. We did enumerate our local licensing requirements. That's to make sure that when the CCB is hearing the applications, they are going through and making a robust review and recommendation to the council so that the council has all the information that they need when they go to vote on their resolution of local support. So they are enumerated. It means they have to go through them. They have to check them off. They have to put them in their recommendation to the council so it's clear what needs to be included for an application to go before the council. We did change the distancing rules as we've discussed. Just want to make sure there may have been a typo or there was a formatting error on the version that's online. There is still a 200-foot requirement for schools. We did change the definition though to be compatible with Chapter 345, which only includes up to secondary schools. So there, I think a portion of it was stricken through schools when it was supposed to be stricken through secondary, through higher education, and then underlined. We still keep the 200-foot requirement for up to secondary high schools. And we've removed the planning requirement so that they can go get zoning determination letters instead of appearing before planning. We did add in that there is still a noticing requirement 10 days before they are to be heard before the cannabis board. They have to notify everybody as they would with the planning board. Everybody within 200 feet, sorry. So that is included in there. And yeah, those are the major changes. Again, the board is meant to be there to review all the applications and make sure they get to the council, but the council's resolution of local support is what allows them to move forward in the process.
Brittany, you have a question. So all operational functions, that should go under Commerce and Maynard, correct? Like the board should not be able to make those operational, like, things like, questions and concerns like that.
Yeah, they have to follow just what's enumerated here. So if Maynard is, through Commerce, when Maynard is putting together, they receive the applications, putting it together for the board, then the board is supposed to go through whatever is being presented to them and make sure they hit everything that's enumerated, so.
So the board is not doing that. That's coming from Maynard's office. The operations part of it.
Or yeah.
Okay, can I ask a couple other questions? For in the memo, you discussed changes to chapter 304. I didn't see that in the attached ordinance, but maybe it's in the other one that's tabled or.
Sure, it's not going to be on for this meeting. We're going to vote on the cannabis first. It's to create the committee that would spend the taxing dollars, the social equity committee. We are waiting to vote on this, and then hopefully at the following agenda meeting, we can vote on the ordinance establishing the social equity committee.
Okay, and does that committee provide just recommendations to the council that adopts it in the budget, or are they going to actually be able to disperse the money?
Yeah, it's recommendations as drafted, so we can definitely show it to the council, but as written right now, we did say that we would establish a committee and then they can make recommendations.
Okay. And then for the cannabis consumption lounges, limiting them to one per ward, and correct me if I'm wrong, would not have been awarded to date, correct?
None are operational yet, no.
And what is the process envisioned for the governing body to determine which which application will sort of get the approved license in each ward.
In terms of the consumption lounge or just in
Yeah,
class 5?
Yeah, the consumption lounge.
Right now, it's still going to be a recommendation coming from the review from the CCB and then to the,
And has the state opened up the cannabis consumption process?
yes, they did.
Okay, because what I would recommend that we write in here, because we had this issue in a different way in the 600-foot rule, where, the first guy to move, but, 8 people apply at the same time. I think there should be kind of a clear date, which is, if we're going to limit it to 1 per ward, it should be, you must get your application in by X date. So we have all of them to consider. And then the Cannabis Control Board can make their recommendation and then the governing body can approve or disapprove. I just don't think you want a situation where it's unclear, then one person applies and the other person didn't know and who gets to go first. So, I just think if we're going to limit it to 1 per ward, we should create a very clear process with deadlines for how to do that to ultimately then determine, which one gets it, because I assume it'll be a pretty lucrative, license to award.
Right. And as discussed, where we do allow the Cannabis Control Board to set time periods, that would be for each class of license. So if it's class 6, Ward A, you have certain amount of time to apply for it, and then the application's closed. That's what is envisioned here, but we'll make sure it's clear.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Brittany, last question with respect to the question that I had previously on the operational functions. Then can you just clarify 84-51, number 2, section B? Because that's not what the ordinance is saying.
Councilman, which one? 52? You said 84-52?
84-51, number 2, section B.
So Councilman, this one where the CCB may at its discretion, right? Right, so Councilman, this is what we've discussed, that they may create a schedule, I would say through Commerce, that they set up the schedule whenever Commerce tells them that there is a class license available in whatever class. We haven't done it yet, so we're not sure exactly how it would look, but I would envision that Commerce tells them, hey, we have a license available, let's put a time period on. We'll put the time period on, and then those applications can be considered by the board.
So could we add Commerce in there?
Sure, that's fine. Just so we're clear on how it will occur.
I have a few questions centered around the consumption lounge. The consumption lounge is 1 per ward. Is there any way we can just cap it at 6? Because I don't want an instance to occur where you have a consumption lounge on a border of 2 different wards and then it's redistricted now they're both in the same ward. So now one ward doesn't have a lounge. So is there any way we can put in the language that although it's 1 per ward, it's still a maximum of 6 at any period?
Sure, it's up to the council if you want to do that. So you don't want, it's just 6 at any point in time, but you don't want it specified by ward.
No, what I'm saying is it could be specified by ward, but if we say that it has to be 1 per ward and an instance happened where 2 dispensaries are identical, let's say E and F, and then is redistrict and both of them are now in F. So someone's going to say, well, there's none in E, so technically we should be able to open up. So what I'm saying is we want to cap it at 6.
Yep.
Because we can't tell the people that's been redistricted they can't operate no more because they were already in play.
Right.
So just if we can lock it at 6.
Right, we have that language for the class 5 and we can.
Yes, and do that. Yeah.
I just have one question, and maybe it is better raised after this comes before council for first and second read. But as it relates to the spending committee, knowing that we already have the Municipal Drug Alliance, potentially the money could also be determined to be spent by recreation. Maybe instead of creating a new committee, knowing some of the challenges we've had with the Open Space Trust and with the Arts and Culture Trust, that it might make sense to use something that's already established, at least for the first year.
I will say if we don't have the committee, the state defaults it to the CFO, and the CFO gets to spend it.
Okay. All right.
Also, do we need to have a second review with the Cannabis Control Board for consumption license? Because from what I understand, a lot of the cannabis retail people, they made their intention known when they were before the committee that they were going to go for a consumption license. I don't know if that's true. I see Director Maynard Woodson here. I just feel like it would be a waste of time to go over it again, unless there's more than one competing per ward at this moment. If the director could clarify. If there isn't, then I think, we don't need to have more red tape. But if there is more than one competing per ward.
As of right, good afternoon, Council President and council members. We did receive some interest, but those applications were bifurcated, so they really weren't considered at the time when they went in front of the board. And now that we're changing it, well, now it's where it's set, where it's going to be one per ward, and we're going to open up a window of application processes, and we do have several wards that we have interest in more than one. So I think it's to be fair to everyone, and there are maybe applicants that may not have initially considered opening up a lounge, but now they are. So to make it fair to everyone, if we have that open window, and it's treated that way as like almost a new application. I mean, the one requirement we do have is that you have to have a Class 5 license, so that may eliminate some that haven't received their final approval.
Okay. Can we also once this is passed, can we put a resolution to make it enacted like immediately, just because I know people are waiting for this to happen? There's like a 20-day.
That would be a 20-day waiver.
Waive the 20-day waiting period.
Councilman, that's usually if there's a public health or economic emergency, but we could take a look at it and see if we could fit it. But from the first perspective, I'd say no.
People need their weed. All right, thank you.
Okay. And just for procedural purposes, we'll be untabling 11.5 ordinance 23-078, which is the land development definitions regarding cannabis establishments. But we'll do that at the next meeting, right? Not at this meeting. Correct?
Correct, yeah.
Thank you. Okay, next, item 3.2, City Ordinance 25-046 is an ordinance of the City of Jersey City designating the Jersey City municipal offices located at 394 Central Avenue, Jersey City, New Jersey 07307 as the Michael Young Municipal Service Center. Item 3.3, City Ordinance 25-047 is an ordinance dedicating Judge James McCaffrey's former courtroom number 4 in Jersey City Municipal Court as the James J. McCaffrey Memorial Courtroom. Next, item 3.4, City Ordinance 25-048 is an ordinance approving a 30-year tax exemption for 701 Newark Avenue LLC, Block 7902, lots 25, 26, 27, 28, and 29, to be known as Block 7902, Lot 25.0.1, more commonly known by the street address of 693-701 Newark Avenue, Jersey City, New Jersey 07306, pursuant to the New Jersey Housing and Mortgage Finance Act of 1983 as amended and supplemented NJSA 55:14K-1 exec and the rules promulgated under NJAC 5:80-1 exec. Next, item 3.
Hold on,
Sean?
Questions?
Yeah, I guess my questions is centered around, look, Chuck, this is that parking lot on North Avenue, right?
That's right.
And was this property previously owned by JCRA and then your client purchased it and?
Yes, and I can give a background.
Yes, if
for
you
the
can,
council.
just-
I think you really need the background and, you know, what this is all about, to, you know, really, review it in its entirety. Because, yeah, this is the property on North Avenue that, was owned by the city, then it was sold to the JCRA. And then the JCRA, designated my client as the redeveloper. And then they sold it to my client. They closed in October of 2023. There was, prior to that designation, years ago, there was the Dream Hotel. That was a prior developer that fell through because of different financial issues with the project. So, my client does own a property now. It still is being used as a parking lot. It's operated by the city of Jersey City. All revenues from the parking go to the city of Jersey City. So that has not closed down. It's the plan is when construction starts, then that would cease, and we have an alternative plan for the parking in place when that happens. So in the meantime, my client has entered into a redevelopment agreement with the Jersey City Redevelopment Agency. Pursuant to that redevelopment agreement, the project here is required to be 100% union construction. My client actually has a PLA negotiated and finalized that they have signed. We are waiting for the unions to countersign it and get it back to us. There was also an obligation that, or requirement that the maintenance of the buildings be 100% union in perpetuity. So my client is already signed up with 32 BJ with regard to that. So that's a major component of the project and as part of the abatement before you, the application. And it's unique in that right now, my client has an application into the state for the Aspire program and for the 4% low-income housing tax credits. So this abatement is important to that as well as to bringing this project together because both programs look upon it's almost like they expect a tax abatement as part of the application. They look more favorable on the applications when that's done. And the project that's approved now has the project, it's a 35-story building with 360 units, residential units with residential on the ground floor. And 20% of those would be affordable as of now before this abatement application. The property is located, as I said, that parking lot, that is at the end of what's called the Homestead Extension. So that would be the last piece of the puzzle to bring the Homestead Extension from Pavonia Avenue to Newark Avenue. So what we're proposing as part of the a tax abatement application to the council is to increase the affordability from 20% to 25%. What that means is you'd have 70, instead of 72 affordable units, you're bringing it to 90. And then more importantly, and I think it's a major component here, is that these affordable units would be reserved to tenants that occupy those units at a maximum of 50% AMI. So that's something I don't think any other project in the city has that. So we'd have 25% affordable units in the project at income levels of a maximum of 50% AMI, which serves, a specific, demographic that I don't, again, I don't think you see that. I don't think the Bayfront has that even. So that with the unions and it's a unique project that's, I know, there's pause at times as to, what project may be appropriate for an abatement. I think we check a lot of boxes here.
So-
That's why we're hoping, this will help the applicant with his applications before the state, and it'll help, push this project forward.
So without the abatement, it's 20%?
Yes, without the abatement, there's 20% now with, because of the Aspire program
Yes.
and the tax credit program.
And with it, it would be 25%.
Yes, with it would be 25%.
Essentially get an additional 5%. I guess, my major issue whenever I'm looking at supporting abatements or not is one, I'm looking at the area. Is it an area that's really need and redevelopment? And for me, directly in back of that is 20,000 units going up over there already. So for me, I just can't, support a 30-year abatement for this project, given that that area is essentially blossoming in development, and we're in essence only getting 5%. So I mean, that's my position on it. I know we voted on abatements for Bayfront, which were much more. We voted on several abatements to actually continue, and a lot of those were like 100% affordable or a lot more. So when I'm looking at this project here, I guess I commend you guys for having the union labor and creation of jobs. But for me, is that a fair trade-off for a 30-year abatement? And I think based on everything I've heard and read, I can't support that.
Chuck, if I could just address that, because I understand your position, but this would be the first affordable project within that area. There is a lot of.
No, don't say that, Chuck. We had an affordable housing bill passed. Any new housing has to have 10% affordable housing.
I was.
And I'm going to read your statement in a minute.
Okay,
Okay, go ahead, finish, Chuck.
right. So this would be the first affordable housing project built in the area, because all that development, you're right, there's a lot going on, but none of it has affordable housing. So this council did pass the amendment to require in Zone 3 and the core, Zone 1, any projects with 30 units or more have 10% affordable. This is proposing, 20%, then 25%. And I think this area is ripe for affordable housing. It's right there on the path. It's all kinds of public transportation available. I think it's an appropriate place for it. And then, we do have the project with 20% and all the union, the labor, but quite honestly, the numbers are getting tight. And this abatement is something that's going to push it over the goal line to make it happen. So, we've been working very diligently on this for years to try to get all the pieces together to make something, that's great. I think it's a win-win. I understand your position, but I think this is an appropriate project and location for it.
Go ahead, Rich.
Chuck, first of all, are you the only attorney here or the other three here with you?
They're
they here
for
with you?
moral support.
He said it is for support.
They're here with you. Now I know why they have to have affordable housing to pay attorney fees.
No.
All right, Chuck.
He's here for something else.
Chuck, look, we speak a lot, and I'm not, where I stand on affordable housing. I'm not opposed to affordable housing. In fact, I'm the only city representative that had an affordable housing bill passed with the backing of a couple of the council people here, Mira and Solomon and Youssef. And but the thing is, the people in Ward C came out, not Ward C, the people in, Ward C came out at a recent meeting, 150 of them. The homeowners are being burdened with heavy taxes, and we are giving a 30-year tax abatement to developers when homeowners of 1 to 4 family homes are being overburdened with these heavy taxes. I mean, when you say, it's gonna be affordable, what's it gonna, rent gonna be for a studio apartment, $1,700? Or a one-bedroom, $2,000? Because that's not affordable. And, the people, it's gotten out of hand. And a lot of people, many people are upset you're taking away that parking lot there because people can't find any parking. Stores are going out of business because there's no parking in the area. They allowed all these big buildings to go up because someone in the city said, oh, nobody's going to have a car. Well, it's a disgrace. And, people, the homeowners are tired of it. As I said, I had an affordable housing bill passed. I'm all for affordable housing, but real affordable housing. And not a 30-year. If it was a 10-year tax abatement, I'd say maybe fine. But 30 years, I think a lot of people are going to be ticked off about this.
Again, I just want to reiterate that you talk about real affordable housing, all affordable housing is real, but this has a component, it's a maximum of 50% AMI. That the IZO in the city requires a mix of moderate income, 80%, up to 80% AMI, and then 50% is low income, and then very low income, 30%. And you have an allocation of it. This is all 90 units would be a maximum of 50% AMI.
Any more questions?
What does that translate to in terms of like rental? I mean, I did a quick Google search, but I'm just like, what are your calculations as to what the max rent, the min and max rent would be for 50% AMI in Hudson County?
So what the figures I've been provided with is a studio, you're looking at $975 a month, one bedroom, $1,022 a month, two bedroom, $1,200 a month, and a three bedroom about $1,385 a month.
And
That's not bad.
that's current rate though, right? That's today.
Yeah, that'll never exist. Never exist.
That's current rate.
And that's
So,
regulated by the state.
if you can, if we could just have a copy of, because you said that you're pushing it from a numbers perspective, so that's why you need the abatement. If we can have, some copies of performers, so as a council, we can review, to see from a financial standpoint, what pushing it looks like for these developers.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chuck.
Thank
Next, Sean.
Okay, next, item 3.5, City Ordinance 25-049 is a franchise ordinance granting permission to St. George and St. Shaduda Coptic Orthodox Church to encroach onto the public right-of-way, the sidewalk along the frontage of 395 Sip Avenue, Block 11801.01, Lot 1 and Lot 3. The attorney is here to answer any questions that you guys may have. Just keep in mind, we did table the ordinance that was on the agenda. I just think that and the attorney can correct me if I'm wrong, difference between the two now is that the new ordinance includes the newly acquired property that you were speaking of during when the last ordinance was on the agenda. Is that correct?
That's correct. Exactly. Why it had to be revised. That's why we're here. We were successful in acquiring that small lot, which was the missing piece in the site plan. And now the description was changed, and that we're back, and your council decided that it was a new application, and that's why it was submitted as a revised franchise ordinance.
It was a substantial change to the ordinance on the tabled agenda, so it was just cleaner to introduce the new ordinance.
Thank you.
Does anybody have any questions? Thank you. Okay, on to our second reading ordinances. I'll try to read as quick as possible. Item 4.1, City Ordinance 25-026 is an ordinance amending Chapter 131, Uniform Construction Codes, requiring applicants for construction permits to demonstrate prior approvals from certain city officials and agencies. Item 4.2, City Ordinance 25-030 is a franchise ordinance granting permission to Liberty Harbor Partners and its successors and assigns to allow decorative pilasters, 4-foot bay windows, and a 10-foot awning to encroach onto the public right-of-way, Block 15907, Lot 3, qualifier C002. Item 4.3, City Ordinance 25-032 is an ordinance amending Chapter 296, Streets, Sidewalks, and Public Rights of Way, Article 2, Closure of the Public Right of Way of the City Code, requiring council approval for applicants for street closures requiring the closing of 10 blocks for 5 hours or more. Item 4.4, City Ordinance 25-033 is an ordinance amending Chapter 321 of the Municipal Code of the City of Jersey City. Item 4.5, City Ordinance 25-034 is an ordinance supplementing Chapter 332, Vehicles and Traffic, Article 9, Parking for the Disabled of the Jersey City Code, designating reserved parking space at various locations throughout the city. Item 4.6, City Ordinance 25-035 is an ordinance supplementing Chapter 332, Vehicles and Traffic, Article 3, Parking, Standing, Stopping, amending Section 332-22, Parking prohibited at all times on Enos Place. Item 4.7, City Ordinance 25-037 is an ordinance authorizing the City of Jersey City to renew the lease with Brunswick Community Garden, also, also known as Jersey City Community Gardening, for the use of Block 9905, Lots 8 and 9, more commonly known as 174, 176 Brunswick Street, for a community garden. Item 4.8, City Ordinance 25-038 is an ordinance authorizing the City of Jersey City to enter into a lease with Dwight Street Block Association for the use of Block 25604, Lot 8, more commonly known as 185 Dwight Street, for a community garden. Item 4.9, City Ordinance 25-039 is an ordinance authorizing the City of Jersey City to renew the lease with Greater Neighborhood Alliance for the use of Block 30003, Lot 45, more commonly known as 81 Garfield Avenue, for a community garden. Item 4.10, City Ordinance 25-040 is an ordinance authorizing the City of Jersey City to renew the lease with Mandela Garden, sponsored by the Greater Neighborhood Alliance, for the use of Block 19503, Lot 36, more commonly known as 447 Martin Luther King Drive, for a community garden. Item 4.11, City Ordinance 25-041 is an ordinance authorizing the City of Jersey City to enter in a lease with 167 McAdoo Avenue Condominium Association for the use of Block 26301, Lot 28, more commonly known as 142 McAdoo Avenue. Item 4.12, City Ordinance 25-042 is an ordinance authorizing the City of Jersey City to renew the lease with Ogden's End Community Garden, sponsored by the Riverview Neighborhood Association, for the use of Block 5202, Lot 28, more commonly known as 100 Ogden Avenue. Item 4.13, City Ordinance 25-043 is an ordinance of the Municipal Council adopting amendments to the Chapel Avenue Industrial Park Redevelopment Plan. And last but not least, item 4.14, City Ordinance 25-044 is an ordinance approving a 30-year tax exemption to JHRC Senior Housing LLC concerning 259 Van Nostrand Avenue, Block 25402, Lot 19, pursuant to the New Jersey Housing and Mortgage Finance Act of 1983, as amended and supplemented by NJSA 55:14K-1 exec and the rules promulgated under NJAC 5:80-1 exec. We have our public speakers. Right now, we're up to 29. Any questions or comments on petitions, communications, items 6.1 to 6.30? There are no officer communications. Any questions or comments on reported directors, 8.1, 8.2? We have our claims and on to our resolutions. Item 10.1 was touched on earlier. Item 10.2, Resolution 25-220 is a resolution authorizing the award of a contract to Fifth Asset, Inc. for a debt book for debt services management software under the National Cooperative Purchasing Alliance, a wholly owned subsidiary of Omni Partners for the Department of Finance, Division of Treasury and Debt Management. Item 10.3 was touched on earlier. Item 10.4, Resolution 25-222 is a resolution authorizing the city of Jersey City to accept a gift from the descriptive plaque for the Conservation Committee of the Canteen Monument and Historic Objects. Item 10.5, City Resolution 25-223 is a resolution, one, introducing and approving the 2025-2026 budget of the Central Avenue Special Improvement District, directing the city clerk to publicly advertise the budget and schedule a public hearing, and directing the tax assessor to prepare an assessment roll of properties within the district based upon the budget. Items 10.6 through 10.18 were touched on earlier. Item 10.19, Resolution 25-237 is a resolution authorizing the city of Jersey, authorizing Jersey City Municipal Council to enter into a contract with Hunter Research for professional consulting services for the historic preservation review and completion of demolition and determination of significant applicants. Items 10.20 through 10.29 were touched on earlier. Item 10.30, Resolution 25-248 is a resolution of the Municipal Council honoring the life and outstanding service of Lieutenant Alfredo Rodriguez Jr. Item 10.31 was touched on earlier. Item 10.32, Resolution 25-250 is a resolution approving amendments to the financial agreement between the City of Jersey City and Emmanuel Realty LLC as it relates to improvements located at 413-419 Arlington Avenue, 64-66 Harmon Street, 750 and 766 Harmon Street to permit the subdivision of unimproved land and terminate the abatement for the portion of the exempt property.
Sean, John, can we get an update on exactly what's going on here? I do remember,
The attorney's here.
oh, that's okay.
Yeah, so in summary, there are improvements on a portion of the lot that are subject to an abatement that was obtained back in 1982. That was when it was under the old limited dividends tax abatement, which actually allowed abatements for 50 years. That is a 100% affordable housing project there. The idea here is that they're going to subdivide the existing parking lot that's in the rear of the property and develop that property. That's a 27-unit building with 10% affordable housing in it. But we can't actually subdivide the property while it's still subject to the exemption. So the idea is we're going to take the parking lot away from the exempt building. The exemption is going to remain for the 100% affordable housing building that's located there at the corner of Harmon and Arlington. And the parking lot is no longer going to be under the exemption.
So from a financial standpoint, what are like some financial implications?
There will be no implications because the abatement only affects the actual improvements on the property. So we don't exempt the land. So right now, the parking lot is not receiving any benefits of the exemption.
But initially it was just part of the actual, now that you're
correct.
Okay.
Right. So basically the pilot will remain the exact same even when removing this property. And I had received an email from your office. I responded to it just a little bit ago. Just so you know, the development is not the new development, the property that'll be removed. There's no plan to apply for an exemption on that property. They're looking to get their permits right away. Obviously, once they start construction, they can't come in and ask for an exemption.
Okay.
If you can just identify yourself for the record, Tom, I'm
Apologize.
sorry.
Tom Lean, Conofoli.
Thank you. Does anybody else have any questions for the attorney? Thank you, Tom. Okay. Next, item 10.33, Resolution 25-251 is a resolution renewing professional service agreement with Cleary Jacoby Alfredi Jacobs LLC to represent Mayor Stephen Fulop and the City of Jersey City in the manner of Athena Ogaro versus the City of Jersey City.
Council, just for an update, this is a renewal. This is our ADA class action lawsuit, and we're continuing defense of it. So I'll provide you an update as to that. Sean, do you want?
You can continue if you like.
10:34, put forward a resolution for a closed session to discuss some ongoing litigation. 10:35, again, this is a resolution authorizing law department to file affirmative tax appeals as we've done the past few years to make sure we're catching what we can and bringing any money back to the city. And then also 10:36 is a resolution authorizing a settlement. We'll provide the council with the confidential memo, and then you can ask me any questions offline. Leave.
And 10.37 and 38 were touched on earlier. 10.39, Resolution 25-257 is a resolution honoring the life and legacy of Maxima Cologne. And last but not least, 10.40, Resolution 25-258 is a resolution authorizing the award of a contract to Municipal Parking Service, Inc. for a pilot program involving camera-based parking enforcement.
Council, we heard your concerns about some issues with parking violations throughout the city. This pilot program will be a camera-specific technology that will be adjacent to loading zones, fire hydrants. Don't want to give all the secrets away, but crosswalks, some bus stops, etc. And it'll create an image of the vehicle with a license plate that will be reviewed. And if it's that it is not in compliance and is a violation, public safety will then remit a payment, a violation. It's important to note that this is already launched in several other cities, so we're not a pilot program as for the technology. We're piloting in how it's best worked in our community. And I think it's important to note as well that there's already technology there that if you're backing up and you're accidentally going to a loading zone for 5 seconds and back out, you're not going to get a ticket. It's time to make sure that the car is parked and there's a clear violation that occurred.
Can we submit locations like Journal Square or Christopher Columbus Boulevard?
Yeah, we have a few already. I think it's important that we just make sure we get up and running, making sure that the cameras are fixed to the post properly and such, and then we can expand and launch.
Do we know how much fines this would possibly accrue? In other cities, have we looked at?
I can ask for data on that. It just really depends on violations, and just keep in mind that the potential of this is not for revenue, but it's for
I understand.
to curb the public safety issue that occurs.
It's a lot. Bike lanes, loading zones, motion. A second.
Wait. We didn't get there yet. Now I'll ask for a motion to adjourn at 5:43 p.m.
Second.
Motion made by Councilperson Rivera, seconded by Councilperson Saleh. On the motion to adjourn at 5:43 p.m., all council members present by acclamation, please say aye. Thank you very much, everyone present and everyone watching at home. Remember, teamwork makes the dream work. Have a great night and stay safe, everybody.